A very good morning, class 12th. So let's continue with the chapter which we started from the book Flamingo called Indigo, written by Louis Fischer. So till now we have discussed about it that how Rajkumar Shukla, he met Gandhiji because the Indian peasants at Champaran district were facing the problem of exploitation from the Englishmen. And Gandhiji accompanied Rajkumar Shukla to the Champaran district, gathered information from Muzaffarpur, met Indian lawyers, scolded them for charging the huge fees, even went to the Britishers Association, and then when he was at Motihari, a summons was given to him to leave this place. And he said he would not leave. So we discussed about that conflict of duties. On one hand, he wanted to be on the grounds of humanitarian nationalism for helping his own people, and on the other hand, he was not interested to be a lawbreaker. And for this reason, he was ready to take a punishment. That is, he was ready to go to jail. And then how other lawyers came to help him out. How they all helped Gandhiji, and why Gandhiji even mentioned that the Battle of Champaran is won. So I am reading it from page number 50. It says about it, the officials felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation because Gandhi was not ready to leave that place. A huge crowd came. The government was baffled. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. Apparently, the authorities wished to consult their superiors. Gandhi protested against the delay. He read a statement pleading guilty. He was involved, he told the court, in a conflict of duties. Need to understand. On the one hand, not to set a bad example as a lawbreaker. On the other hand, to render the humanitarian and national service. Not to want of respect for lawful authority, but in obedience to the higher law of our being, the voice of conscience, that is the inner self, he asked the penalty due. Because he was the one who believed in the non-violence one. Right? In Satyagraha movement. So he thought about it, I can't set a bad example, so he was ready to take the penalty. The magistrate announced that he would pronounce sentence after 2-hour recess and allow Gandhi for the bail of 120 minutes. Gandhi refused. The judge released him without bail. When the court reconvened, that is started again, judge said he would not deliver the judgment for several days. For several days the judgment was not announced. And even the court noticed that when there was a huge crowd basically, and when Britishers, Englishmen were not able to control that crowd, only Gandhiji held them to control that crowd. Because all were in the protest for Gandhiji. As you might have seen in any movie also, when someone, a good person is going to the jail, others come to help. Like it also happens in one of the movie called Gabbar. How Akshay Kumar fought for us, and later on he was going to the jail and everyone helped him out to protest for him. In the same manner, Gandhiji controlled it. Now, Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Mazhar al-Haq and several other prominent lawyers came. They conferred with Gandhi. Basically, they discussed with Gandhi what would do next. What would they do if he, that is Gandhiji, was sentenced to prison? Gandhi asked. Gandhi raised the question, what would happen? Why? The senior lawyer replied then, they had come to advise and help him. If he went to jail, there would be nobody to advise and they would go home. So Gandhi said, if I would go to jail, what would happen next? So one of the senior lawyers said, why? We are here to advise you. If you would be jailed, then to whom we would advise basically? As number of prominent lawyers came. What about the injustice to the sharecroppers? Gandhi demanded. The lawyers withdrew to consult. Rajendra Prasad had recorded the upshot of their consultations, or the conclusion came. Now every single lawyer thought that Gandhi was totally a stranger for that place. And he was prepared to go to the prison for the sake of the Indian peasants. If they, that is the lawyers, on the other hand, being not only residents of the adjoining districts, but also those who claim to have served their peasants, should go home, it would be shameful desertion. So lawyers thought about it. Like a stranger who was ready to go to jail for the Indian peasants, and we who are surrounded by this district who were fighting for the Indian peasants. What they will do, they will go home. This is something a very shameful thing. If a stranger like Gandhiji can do it, then why not us? So they all said that even we are ready to go to jail with you. We are ready to fight for our Indian peasants. They accordingly went back and told to Gandhi. They were ready to follow him into jail also. And then Gandhiji said, the battle of Champaran is won. Now Gandhiji noticed that the people of that district, they all were together now. They all started fighting for each other. So Gandhiji was happy to see that how Indian people came together, how they had shown that togetherness. That's why he said this battle has won. Because earlier he mentioned that he wanted to make the people free from fear of mind. So now he said if everyone is together now, because lawyers were charging huge fees also. So it basically means the battle won. Several days later, Gandhi received a summon from the Lieutenant Governor. And there it was mentioned civil disobedience had triumphed the first time in modern India. Now Gandhiji was there to fight for the Indian peasants, not in the court because he thought it was useless, just to fight outside to close this matter. Earlier he went to the British Association also. And now from there only he got the order. So there he thought that the things which Gandhiji had, that civil disobedience had won at that time. Because of no violence, they have reached to this stage also. Because people, Englishmen, they started feeling afraid from Gandhiji and other Indian people now. So that's why Gandhiji mentioned about this statement. Yeah. So then he says about it, Gandhi and the lawyers now proceeded to conduct a far-flung inquiry. In June, now it was the month of June, Gandhi was summoned to Sir Edward Gate. Before he went, he noticed that they were the leading associates, everyone was sitting there. Now Gandhi had 4 protracted interviews with the governor, Lieutenant Governor, and there were various representatives there, and Gandhiji was the sole representative from the Indian peasant side, and opposite to him the Englishman was sitting there, like landlords, government officials, and Gandhi as the sole representative of the peasants. Gandhi remained in Champaran for an initial uninterrupted period of 7 months, and then again for several shorter visits, and then he used to go to other places because they were fighting for the Indian freedom, and he used to come there. And then it mentioned the visit undertaken casually on the request of an unlettered peasant in the expectation that it would last a few days occupied almost a year of Gandhi's life. So Shukla called him for a few days, but it was almost for a year. Gandhiji fought there for the people with the non-violence and satyagraha. Right? So till here we are discussing it now. Rest we will do it in the next class. Okay. So thank you. We will send the work timely, and God bless you all.